quick look at dialogue. The important thing here is just, getting back to basics, that we punctuate it, and we always ensure that our punctuation encloses any of the direct speech. We talked about how we might show a text message or email using perhaps italics. We haven't got a lot of room to waste. In a short story, every word is there for a reason. The show don't tell rule is pretty important. And just a few things about, thoughts about conveying tone, anger, sarcasm, pleading, commanding. So now here is a sentence with some direct speech, some dialogue in it. So first thing we've got to do is make sure our quotation marks enclose the direct speech and exclude any little bits and pieces that isn't direct speech. Now, and here we've got I said, okay, that helps the audience, the reader, figure out a few things, okay, fairly obvious here. Now, this little bit of stuff here, these little notes for the reader, if you will, they're really important as far as establishing tone as well. So, as a bit of an example, I've got the same direct speech here, but in my, in between the direct speech, instead of saying I said, which is pretty plain, I muttered through gritted teeth. Okay, you get, there are some clues there as to the tone and the emotion and even the character of the speaker. We also looked at the, using caps, which is super shouty. And that's something that really can't be overused, but it's certainly effective when it is used. So just a quick bit of stuff about dialogue there. Dialogue should be realistic, and it should be used. I mean, it is a great way of establishing character, and we talked a little bit about conflict and how that sort of a dialogue can help establish your characters, but it can also move the plot along. It can move. It can give you clues and pointers as to characters as well. The other thing we looked at, just a few tips, pointers about plot. Your plot needs conflict, and we talked about the different types of conflict between people. But we also spent some time talking about internal conflict and having a dilemma, two difficult choices, the consequences of which are both bad, perhaps not equally bad, but the character has to make some sort of choice between those things. Talked a little bit about how some authors say, look, you should be sadistic. You should make things really hard for your character, your main character, to help drive the plot. And when you think it's hard, add more hard stuff. And the other thing we spoke about was avoiding cliche. Don't have your story with conflict and all sorts of, dramatical events, and then at the end say, I woke up. It was all a bad dream.